Welcome to the meeting room at Global TV Talk Show, a broadcast service of globalbusinessnews.net.
Now, here's your host, Ed Cohen.
This is Ed Cohen in San Diego, California, and welcome again to Global TV, a unit of globalbusinessnews.net. And our special guest today is Yvonne Dam from Amsterdam area. Welcome.
Thank you.
So did I pronounce your name properly?
100% right.
Okay, great. Okay, so I've been in Amsterdam area many times over the years. I've even produced a couple of our live training conferences when we were actively doing that until that all stopped about 22 months ago. So I'm familiar somewhat with the tourist areas of Amsterdam. So you were in corporate work. What did you do last?
What did I do last in corporate? My last job was change management, culture change, and performance management. And I was with a very large multinational in London. And I worked for quite a few other large organizations that we helped to improve their results of the teams they were working with. Yeah, in a leadership position.
Now, in the corporate, I'm not going to ask for names, but unless you want to say who they were, but in dealing with a large multinational, that meant you're dealing with a large variance of employees and customers, right?
Yes, yes.
Right.
And in a way, I find that the beauty, because I like it. I like inclusivity and the diversity, and you have different people, different cultures, different way of looking at things. It is amazing. But in general, the culture in the multinational I worked for, which was in principle an audit firm, everything was around time. So the saying time is money was very accurate at the company I worked for, because every minute you were thinking about a client, you would have to charge to the client. Now, you don't want to do that, because if you truly charge every minute you're thinking about a client on the invoice, the client's never going to be able to pay that, right? So what you automatically ended up doing was working longer days, so you could spread some of the time out and not charge everything you were doing, and the client would be okay by paying the bills. But it did mean that you prolong, your days got really long. And then add that to the habit that if I would leave around 5 p.m. or 6 p.m., there would be someone always joking while you were waiting at the elevator. Are you taking the afternoon off? So just to set a bit of the scene, this is, the industry I worked with. I think people that listening, they can totally recognize this. And it ended up with me working nonstop.
Yeah, but that wasn't because of guilt. It was because of things that you could accomplish.
I think it was a bit of both, to be honest, because there is always, I'm eager. I want to get results. I love the work. So I would always push myself. That's a big part of who I am.
And I got to say, the customers noticed it. And so they ask you to do more.
Of course. But that's a very, very interesting principle. There's a saying, if you want something done, give it to the person who's busy, because they will get it done immediately.
Well, they'll manage the time to get it done.
Precisely. And that's just what happened. You just stuck on. But there was also a bit of guilt. You always wanted to be, I had a very much people-pleasing side of me. You don't want to say no. So if you don't want to say no, well, that ends up, you say yes to a whole lot of projects that just end up your lap. And then the guilt towards my family started. So it was like a catch-22 situation.
Yeah. So are you in the city, or are you more or less in the suburbs?
I am in a city, yeah.
And you like that action, like going out for a walk rather than have to drive somewhere.
Yeah, well, I'm very fortunate because I live next to the coast. So if I want to go for a true walk, I'll do a beach walk.
Yeah, that's nice. Good. Okay, so do you like tulips?
Well, how can I be in Holland and not like tulips? Yes, I think, especially when the spring starts and you have all the fields with tulips, it's really a majestic seeing. It's
Yeah,
so
beautiful. Different colors, not just red.
yeah, no, it's the rainbow colors. It's really pretty.
So it's the one flower that you always have with you, right?
Yes. Yeah.
Tulips.
Yeah.
Okay.
True.
All right, let's get back to it needs to break the tension here a little bit. Okay, so you're doing coaching now for a living?
Yes. Yes. Yeah.
Okay. So you're not working less?
Well,
Or are you?
I am working way less because the funny thing was I became addicted to my work. I became a workaholic. I worked all the time. Even when I was at home, I was still on my phone, always working. And then I decided I had enough and I started my own company. Little did I know that when you start your own company, it kind of gets even worse because you're then all of a sudden responsible for everything. Until I decided this is not why I started my company. I wanted more freedom and I instantly changed it around. I started implementing all my time management and I got amazing results. It became so much easier. Everything was done so much quicker. And that's what I now teach my clients. So if you want to win time, if you want to get it done quicker and with more ease, that's what I coach my people towards too.
So within all of this, you cook, what, clean, have a life, right?
I have a life. Yes, I have an amazing life. I mean, yeah, I have a child. I look after her. I have a dog. We take beach walks. I have a husband. I have friends. I do a lot of things, but I take a lot of time for myself as well, because I think it's important to look after yourself.
Yeah, I just got a call here. So you know what? I'm going to just shut off my phone here. Okay, good. There we go. Sorry. So tell me, what do you like to do best, the most, outside? You go outside your house. Okay. What do you like
What
to
do I
do?
like best?
Yeah.
Well, there are a couple of things. I like to either go for a walk that can be in the woods or in nature or along the beach, or I just love to go and sit on a terrace. Well, not now because it's raining all the time, but go for a drink, have some nice food, really enjoy. And that's part of what I like about living in the city, isn't it? It's where you have everything and you just need to walk around the corner and you get to the nice place.
Yeah, I live in downtown San Diego, which is across the street from a tourist area called Seaport Village, and it's always good. Everything is right outside.
Yeah, that's
Don't need to
amazing
get in the
too.
car. So
No.
so let's talk about people quitting in America anyway. A lot of people have decided that they don't like the boss, or they don't like the work, or they don't like how their life is going or something, and they could take a chance and quit. Is that happening in Amsterdam too?
It is happening, and especially now. And I think it's also the time people think about what do I really want, and then they come to realize I don't want to do this job, and that's when they quit. Yeah, it happens a lot.
So it's almost like your life.
Well, yeah, well, I think so as well. When I decided to quit, it took 100 kilos off me. It was such a relief. Yeah. Yeah, but it also because I had been wanting to coach for a long time. I was coaching, executives since 2004, and I just decided this is what I want to do, but then more. So that's what I took the plunge.
So let's talk about what it is that you're coaching. Okay, very specific. I know you touched on it already, but if we could just top three things that you're finding customers are asking you about. I know there's probably many things, but is it in their mind or is it in their methodology?
It's
What
always
are you working on?
Yeah, it's always a combination. When people come to me, they're really overwhelmed. They've had it. They go like, okay, how do I go from here? And so we always start with a more practical setup. How do I work differently? How do I get more done in less time? That's really what I specialize in, because truth be told, you do not have to work 24/7, really. It's not not for everybody, and you don't have to do it. So that's, we start with practical, so people experience a bit more space. They go like, oh yes, I can breathe again. And when we're there, one of the things I really like to do is to work on success habits. So how do I build in my new routine? How does it become sustainable, this change? And then lastly, a very important thing, you already mentioned it, there's the mindset. We briefly talked about guilt. We briefly talked about people pleasing, but there's always a reason why you think you need to work so hard. And unless we address that reason and change it around, nothing is going to change.
So
So
a lot is customer driven, though.
yes, yes. Yeah, there's a fixed framework, but I always look at the person and their personal situation to make sure that you get the best results from it.
So do you deal with more men than women?
It's not necessarily. But I work with both right now. I coach more women than men, but it can be up and down.
So I'm in the public relations business, and so
Yes.
I have a price list.
Yes.
All right. And
Yeah.
I have a product list.
Yeah.
All right. And so do you have a price list for, say, 8 hours of this kind of counseling, or 3 hours for this kind of work,
Yeah.
this kind of thing?
Yeah. Yeah. No. So I have 3 ways of working with me. One is the VIP personal coaching, one-on-one. I have a group coaching program, and I also have a mastermind where people really want to stop procrastinate. And I would be happy to share the prices, or, but it's up to you. So there are 3 ways, and there is a fixed price for all 3 programs. Yeah.
So the Dutch way is to be very forthright and upfront.
Yes.
So yes, okay, if you want to talk price, it's okay with me. But
Okay.
but but everybody's different. So if you're going to solve a problem for somebody, it's a matter of, well, sort of doing like what we're doing here. Is just, this is the first time we've met, but already our rapport is very engaging, and it's very comfortable. And I'm an experienced talk show host, so I'm trying to seem as natural as possible. But for me, it's really easy with you here.
Yeah.
So I can see why you've had such success at transitioning from a corporate structure into ambiguity.
Yeah.
But okay, so when you decide, oh my God, it's 2:30 in the afternoon, not 4:30 or 5, and say, I'm done, I got to get out of here. So you go, can you just stop and go out?
Yes, I can. Unless I have meetings with clients set up, I can. And actually, most afternoons I do, because I think that's the beauty of what I do. And like Friday afternoon, if I all of a sudden think, you know what, I've had it, I'm going for a bottle of champagne with my love, that's what we do. And that's the freedom I really like. But I'm telling you, it's possible in a corporate job as well. It's not just business owners. There's so much more possible than you think right now.
So the work from anywhere, work from home, that's very popular in Europe, right?
Yes, it is. Yeah.
Do you think it's here to stay, or it's
For sure.
Yeah.
There's no doubt about it. If you look at all the trends, if you see what all the companies are doing, there are some more, let's say, traditional positions like banks, for example. Those are already now announcing that they want the people to come back. But most organizations, and I think the tech companies are more advanced than others, they might not even go back at all. But I think what's definitely going to stay is where you have the possibility, the hybrid, right? You come into the office for a couple of days a week, and you also have the possibility to work from home. And it's going to stay. And people are also asking for it, right? The more tropical destinations pop up all of a sudden. But I'm also, that needs to be sorted, because it comes with all kind of consequences: tax, pension, social security, immigration. It's not as easy as we think.
Yeah, cultural things as well. Okay,
Yes.
so let's talk about young people versus old people, like me. I'm old, and so what is it easier to consult with younger people than it is with older people, or is it the reverse?
It's depending on what they want to work on, in my experience. And like I said, I really love diversity. So old, young, I don't mind. I've coached so many different people. If you're looking from a change perspective, in a way, young people might be more open to change, because that's in general the case with young people. They like to, oh yeah, this is an option, this is an option. But what I then see is that they not always go through with the change. So it's like, it sounds great and they all have the plans, but they might not take the final step. Or that is where I come in to help them. But then if you look at the older generation, once they come to me, they are ready for change. So when they have decided this is the way I'm going to go, they do go. So you see, so in the end, they both get there, but it's a different way. And both have their pluses and minuses.
In dealing with virtual, you do most of this now, I think, virtually, right? So how would you recommend someone who has not yet perfected what you and I are doing now, and dealing with people from different cultures, dealing with very busy people, okay, and yet they haven't done virtual successfully, or they haven't gotten into it, immerse themselves in how to do this better.
So
how do you teach them?
Yeah, if you're very new to virtual and you want to bring a message across, I always say it's like chatting to someone. Get it set up right. So that's a test. If you haven't done it before, ask someone, ask your neighbor, ask your nephew, who someone who is easy peasy. Let them help you to set it up, test it. And then you will actually see that the technology, which we often are afraid of, is not difficult at all. So once you've mastered that, then, because I get a lot of clients ask me, so now that we all work virtual, how do I show my boss that I'm amazing? And I'm saying it, but it's true, right? Because we don't have the little chats at the coffee corner. We can't just walk past their office and say, hey, did you hear that I landed that client or whatever? There's no opportunity there. So how do you do it? Well, and especially when your managers or leadership is extremely busy, there's always a golden rule when someone is extremely busy. Keep it to the highlights and make sure the highlights count. And as a coach, don't underestimate yourself. So don't sell yourself short, because that happens a lot. We feel like, oh, I won't mention it, he's too busy, or they will get it. You need to really put yourself out there and just mention how amazing you are, because nobody else is going to do it.
So here again is the Dutch personality coming out and making that positive step forward. And like, I'm coming through the screen, reaching out. And I think that's admirable, but a lot of people are, and so I have found that. And so it's a learning experience. Yeah.
It is for sure. And to be honest, as forward as Dutch people are, they still struggle. I think it's not something, it's just most cultures and most societies, they are like, don't brag, you're bragging, don't sell yourself, just the word, oh, who am I, but I've come and I've seen it again and again. I've experienced it myself. If you want to go ahead in corporate, you will need to show how valuable you are.
Yeah.
And it starts with believing it yourself. And if you believe it, then there is actually nothing wrong with just mentioning it.
Yeah.
But this is where coaches can help you, because you're right. It's not easy. It's not a natural thing. And you just need to get through it.
Hi, this is Ed, and I thank you for tuning in to Global TV Talk Show, a unit on globalbusinessnews.net. We broadcast to the world, as you know by now. So I wanted to make sure that you understand that our programs are advertising supported. We're grateful for co-sponsors, advertisers. They have a marketing budget coupled with a strong desire to be associated with our top quality program. And of course, I'm grateful. Thank you. So for the next few minutes, you're going to see some commercials. It's mostly very low key, and our prices are very, very reasonable. Our exposure for the advertisers go 12 months and beyond. Some of our advertisers have been with us since March, April of 2020. And Google Analytics has tracked over 125,000 what they call audience page views, which means you looking at this page, that's a page view. Now, if you happen to go to one of our other shows or to our radio broadcasts or to our newspaper or magazine, those become additional page views as measured by Google Analytics. And so when they say 125,000 since spring of 2020 up through Labor Day, a month ago, that's pretty good numbers. And the past 30 days, Google Analytics has measured just under 6,000 audience page views. And that, according to them, is a 42% increase in audience participation over the month of August. So thank you very much. Well, here's our advertisers, and we'll be back in just a couple of minutes or so, and we'll proceed with this interesting conversation. Thank you.
This episode from the meeting room of Global TV Talk Show is brought to you by
The Bridge School, the accredited international online private school of choice, at bridgek12.org.
Porch Light Rental and Destination Services. Reduce your renter lump sum or managed relocation costs. Visit them at porchlightrental.com.
And by airs.com. With our full range of services, we can help design and manage your international relocation. Find us at airs.com.
Primestone Partners, featuring corporate, government, and developer housing solutions, as well as senior-level advisory services. Find them at primestonepartners.com.
And by International Auto Source. We are the vehicle experts for expats, featuring all major brands of automobiles with flexible solutions and financing. On the web at intlauto.com.
Become a global player in your field.
Cross Culture to Go provides virtual support for your global business and career success.
We can help you thrive in 140 plus countries and markets.
On the web at crossculturetogo.com.
Something that's really neat is that the Bridge School partners with various organizations to provide learning for their students. For example, we partner with a major ballet company, and we are able to enroll several of their students into our school. So now not only is the student able to participate in a school and have a seamless transition while they're very active in their ballet career, but now they have other dancers that are with them that are doing some of the same courses. So it's almost becoming a camaraderie where they're taking similar courses, they're working together on their ballet, and really being able to form this great partnership with these organizations to provide a needed service. A lot of times there are student athletes who will spend hours and hours at the gym or at the basketball courts, wherever it is. And if they're attending a traditional school, they're in school from 8 to 3. They get a quick snack, and then they're at the gym for 3 to 4 hours in the evening. Coming to us and having that partnership, they're able to break that up throughout the day. They can have a morning practice, get some schooling in, have an afternoon practice, finish their schooling in the evening. So there's that flexibility. And additionally, if there are tournaments or performances, it's fantastic because if there's a week where they have shows straight through, they can take that week off of learning and then pick back up when they're done. So it offers this great flexibility. And for the program owners of these sports leagues, it is a win-win situation for them because they see this need. They see this need that their students need to make sure that they are obtaining the grades necessary to be successful adults in our country and in other countries. But it provides them an environment where they can be successful at both.
Hi, I'm Sergey Gorbatov.
I'm Angela Lane.
Together we're researchers, writers and practitioners in the field of human resources.
And we've also been multi-country, multi-assignment career expats.
We owe our professional development and growth to a very large extent to the international assignment opportunities that we have had.
But in a world where distributed work may become the norm, we also want to understand what will happen to the nature, duration, and purpose of international assignments.
Together with our colleague, Julian Dalzell from the University of South Carolina, we're undertaking a study on the future of expatriation.
And we'd value your contribution. You can participate in this important study by completing a simple 10-minute questionnaire.
Access the questionnaire by typing in your browser tinyurl.com/expert study. That's tinyurl.com/expert study. You can also find the link here on ED's website next to this video.
Thank you for joining us in this study. In return for your contribution, we'll provide you with a copy of our research.
And of course, you'll be invited to an exclusive webinar hosted by Ed, where we will share our findings right here on Global Business News.
And so please go to tinyurl.com/expat study. Take the survey so that we can better understand the future of expatriation.
Thank you. So let me ask you a different kind of question now. You've worked in London, in the city, I assume.
Yes.
And now you're back across the sea. And all this noise the past few years about Brexit, where, the big move was this bank or that organization was going to close or shut down part of it in the city and open up in Amsterdam or Luxembourg or someplace, right? To avoid the hassle.
Yeah.
But now almost none of that counts anymore, right?
It's very interesting when there has been a lot of big moves, right? From out of London to other places, so people would be okay. I know quite a few people, and when we moved back to the Netherlands, it actually, schools were full here. But I think you're right. Right now, it doesn't really matter. But I know that the people in England, they are experiencing problems with certain deliveries, for example, due to Brexit. So it's not over yet. It's just almost everything has been paused for now.
Yeah, right. There's a disruption,
Yes.
a change.
Yeah. For sure.
Well, I've really enjoyed speaking with you, and I'd like you to come back on our program where we could talk about something else. We're also producers of group programs, Group Talk.
Yes.
We have a series called Global Voices for Change, which sounds like it's a do-gooder thing, but it's really not. It's about how people are reinventing their lives as a result of the pandemic, reinventing their customer service product or service because they're remote versus in a office setup. And so the office, the redesign of the office, because they don't need the same space as of now anyway. You think that what used to be cubicles or glassed in or enclosed offices by the windows will now be more meeting space, meeting room after meeting room, where people could come in, have some rooms have couches, others have big tables where people can set up and talk, but more of a group atmosphere rather than a workstation atmosphere?
Well, I think there might be a trend, but I also know that there are many people like an office garden kind of thing, right?
Mm-hmm.
But I know that there are many people that struggle with that. They struggle with everything that goes on and
There's too much noise, right?
too much
Right.
noise, and that's when you get the headphones, right? Everybody's like, oh, I'm in my
I
own
know.
bubble. Yeah. But it works. So I think there will always be people that need their own private cubicle or space, and because otherwise their mental health will be impacted very negatively. So as much as I do see that general meeting rooms will be there, I think given the nature of man, or human, I should rather say, there will always be separate sections, because otherwise people can't cope.
So what is the website? People can see
Yes.
your name here on your
Yeah.
screen. They can always go to LinkedIn, but
Yeah.
is there a specific website that you'd like
Yes.
to announce?
My website is Amaze Yourself, because that's what I stand for. And there's a hyphen between the two words. So it's amaze-yourself.com. And if anybody would like to chat, just send me an email and we can just discuss how you can save time.
Great. Thanks for being on Global TV. I really enjoyed meeting you and speaking with you.
Me too. It was my pleasure. Thank you so much.
Thank you. Have a good night.
Thank you for joining us in the meeting room at Global TV Talk Show.
Have a wonderful day, and stay safe.